to 200 miles above the Earth. Solar winds blow across the Earth's upper atmosphere, hitting molecules of gas, lighting them up with as much a neon-like sun. And these northern lights occur all year long, even in daylight. We just can't see them. Therefore, they are at their most dazzling from December to March in this area, and can even start as early as October and go into April. But December to March is when the nights are longest and the sky is darkest, and therefore they can usually be seen even as far south as Juno in its yearly orbit. These three motions tend to cancel each other out most of the time. However, about every 100,000 years, these three actions work together to make the Earth cooler than normal, hence another ice age. Now, Alaska has hosted a glacier-favoring mixture of climate and topography. Join me today at 5:15 in the Colony Club on Deck 6 to learn about Juneau, Alaska, our next port. And I promise to stop in time to get you to your 6 o'clock seating. I just once more want to say thank you to the crew aboard the Radiants. They are really each excellent and show the highest level of teamwork to provide all of us with the experience of a lifetime. So again, this is Dr. Pat Stroh, and I'll see you next time.
Now, I became interested in longevity and brain research early in my career, and largely due to this book that highlights eminent people who had a great impact on the world. I then carried that research into everyday life and how these characteristics exist in many of us who have a passion for life, and that grows stronger with age for most of us. I like longevity and using that term much better than the term aging or senior or any of that. And I also like terms like lifelong learner, and I certainly am that, and I'm guessing most of you are that as well, a lifelong learner. And when we look at super longevity, and that's people 85, 95 or more, we know that they enjoy many things, and we see that even on our cruise ships. And I met one couple, Bill and Mary, and I wanted to make sure they didn't mind if I mentioned them because both of them are 90 and very active. You'll see them out there walking the track and all over the ship. So it's fun to meet people like Bill and Mary. Now, lifelong learning is the secret to longevity, I believe. So I'll start with that. I believe there's a connection to the passionate, extreme, single-minded, often even eccentric and brilliant characteristics of these famous people that I've studied, and you see some of them here. These are the younger ones. I'll show you some older ones in a minute. But this keeps us active, you know, both in mind and body, and activity is one of the most significant factors in longevity. Research has long proven that even moderate exercise every day, along with reading, working puzzles, socializing, especially socializing, it's important not to isolate as we get older, and keeping your mind active will increase not only your number of years, but the quality of that time. Now, here are some of the older folks that I researched and looked at, and there I am on my first voyage when I was 2 years old. And but in addition to Bill and Mary, there are many talented and active guests on this cruise that I've met, and it's been just a ball. In fact, I saw one of the guests on the piano back here that Rose plays in the casino, and I asked how long he had played, and he said, 75 years. And I said, wow, when did you start? And he said, when I was 10. So I was just amazed at that, you know. I just love that. Now, some of the common characteristics of people who live long and productive lives, you know, check these off. See how many you have the same characteristic with intellectual curiosity, wide range of interests. You can be single-minded, though, when you have a purpose and you're driven toward getting something done. But these folks, many of them were single-minded to their profession, and that's what led them to fame. And as I said earlier, and her lifespan has been thoroughly documented because sometimes in longevity, you don't get the proper documentation to be able to verify it, but hers is more documentation than any other case. And at age 85, she took up fencing. At 100, she was still riding a bicycle. I can't do that now. I couldn't do it at 15, but anyway, she claimed to never have been athletic or fanatical about health and fitness. She lived alone until her 110th birthday. It was decided then that she would be better off in a nursing home after a cooking accident nearly killed her. And that sounds like my own mother. And then she met Van Gogh in 1888 when he came to her father's shop to buy some paint and pencils. And she described him as dirty, badly dressed, and disagreeable. And she remembers this visit clearly, along with watching the Eiffel Tower being built. Now, this picture of Van Gogh's Iris, painted by Van Gogh in 1887, shortly before he visited the shop of our friend here. And this picture sold for $105 million. And she ate 2 pounds of chocolate a week, and we don't recommend that either, but it's a lot more fun. So anyway, and she also enjoyed port wine until the day she died. So anyway, here's some other longevity winners, and it's amazing with the people from Japan. You know, it's amazing that 5 of the 10 are from Japan, and 66 are women and 5 are men. Sorry, guys. And also, as you can see, many are from Japan, 14 from the U.S. This is of the 71 people that they're researching over 113 years old. And as we look ahead to that extra 25 years that we quite likely will have, we wonder, is this when I'll live my best life? And we're still seeking, we're learning, we're feeling, and this all like never before. Many of us can do this because we're retired, unencumbered, with the daily grind out of our way. We're embarking on a life filled with possibilities. And we can't help but look back 25 years to when we were 35. Can you imagine? That was just 25 years ago. And how did we feel then? What was important? What did we want to get out of life? Did we even pay a lot of attention to what we would contribute in our life? Yet now, at the big 70, 80, or 90s, we want to know, have I done or will I now do something that matters enormously to the world, or even to me, to my family, my community, and my friends? Now, looking at the right brain, left brain, it is true, we do start losing brain cells by the age of 20, but remember, we started out with billions more than we could ever use. In fact, an astonishing new fact is that in our older years, we start to use both halves of our brain because we have all of this coded information that we've picked up over the years and then released of all the daily grind that I've been talking about. Then your creative side starts drawing on all of that information. And that's why so many older people start writing their books. They start doing the best painting of their life. You just look at people at that age in life and they become the creative best. And, you know, I think that's so true of all of us. We're beginning to get to that point where we can't think fast enough almost to do the next thing we want to do and do it well. I love walnuts, and I didn't know why until I did a little bit of this studying. And you know, you think about a walnut, and if you've ever seen one from the tree, it has a outer green shell on it, and that's sort of like our scalp, and then it has that hard walnut case to it, that's like our skull, and then you go in a little further and it has that membrane on the inside of it, and then you look at the 2 halves of it, just like the 2 halves of our brain. So it just made sense to me that walnuts help maintain and correct serotonin levels in your body. And that's an important brain chemical that balances our moods and our appetite. And they're 15 to 20% protein, vitamin E, and B6, so they're also excellent for your nervous system. And maybe I should tell the chef upstairs that he may have a run on walnuts. I know I've been eating them every day, and I found that if you eat nuts and fruit together, it enhances both of their qualities for your body. So I always throw a few walnuts on my fruit plate. And, you know, more on brain foods like blueberries and stuff later. Okay, so additional brain research, the stimulated brain. So we looked at rats in toy string cages, and they have more complex behavior than those in sterile and uninteresting environment. Now the fact is that these stimulated brains, in fact, contain as many as 25% more synapses per neuron, proving that rich experiences produce rich brains and continue to do so. Now, don't worry, be happy. You all know that, Jamaica, right? And the thing is that when you're at play or intently involved in something you love to do, like beekeeping, MRI scans show strong activity in the right hemisphere of your brain, where spontaneous, intuitive, creative thinking occurs. So it really works. The more interested you are, the more interesting and the more brain cells that are keeping up with all of this.
Find what I know about famous people, I learned from Cradles of Eminence. Cradles of Eminence was written some years ago, and it was extremely influential to my studies. The authors, Ted and Mildred Gertzel, used the term eminent to research and describe famous people because they became important enough to have books written about them. Tolstoy had such a secret world, and with his siblings, he could imagine their world full of perfect peace. Now, some of the future presentations that I'll be talking about over the next few days is in Rome. We'll be talking about From Caesar to Sophia Loren, how Romans have impacted the world. In Florence, in Pisa, Italy, we'll be talking about the warmth of the Tuscan sun, and from there sprang Pinocchio, Raphael, Galileo, Da Vinci, and others. And also we'll be visiting Cannes, France, and there we'll talk about the playground of the rich and famous and take a look at Lord Brougham, who started the whole society there in Cannes, and Grace Kelly, her friends, and all the rich and famous people who just can't get enough of Cannes.